This week on Unscripted, we have news on why Daniel Bryan turned heel, plus our Survivor Series predictions, and is there heat on Brock Lesnar? We'll get into it. This and more on the future #1 podcast right here on YouTube.com. This is Unscripted. What is going on, everybody? It's Franz. We're back with Unscripted, episode 45 for your November 17th, 2018. I don't know why I want to keep saying October, but it's not. It's November. So, let's see here. We have our Survivor Series predictions we'll get into in a bit, but we do want to talk about, as we do every single week, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, the big talking points. Of course, the biggest things coming out of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. The two biggest talking points were Becky Lynch invading and making Ronda Rousey her bitch for a night, and then Nia Jax smashing her face and taking away a big time match that everybody wants to see. That, in my honest opinion, we might see down the line. Becky Lynch injury might have propelled her to be the one to go after Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. They're already doing Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey right now. They're getting that out of the way. That was what they wanted to do at WrestleMania. So, since that match is out of the way, we could see Becky Lynch lose the title, and yes, Charlotte Flair will be becoming 9-time women's champion. But we could see, honestly, one of the best things ever, and that is Becky Lynch beating Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And Becky Lynch goes from being probably a casualty in the Ronda Rousey title reign to the big star who beat Ronda Rousey. I think that would be absolutely awesome. But that will have to be when we get to it down the line. Of course, we will have our Survivor Series predictions here in a bit. But for now, we also want to talk about the big shocker coming out of SmackDown Live. And the big shocker, of course, was Daniel Bryan winning the WWE Championship, giving us a different championship match. We have news on when this was decided and why this match happened now, instead of AJ Styles getting to be probably, I think, the first person in a while to come into the Survivor Series 3 years in a row as the WWE champion. But we will have to get to that when we cross that bridge. Now, one of the other big things coming out of Monday Night Raw, of course, was the fact that they practically told you that Monday Night Raw is probably going to win, even though I would love to see SmackDown win the one night, because I would love to see Braun Strowman not get what he wants, go to Titan Towers, and just tear the place down with his bare hands. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. NXT, of course, was its go-home show to War Games, which is coming on to you tonight. I will have a full review on that later tonight. And we had pretty much a standard go-home show for NXT, which is not to highlight in matches, except for, of course, the main event, which gave us the winner gets their team advantage in War Games, which will be coming to you tonight, and I cannot wait for that match, where we have Undisputed Era versus the Team War Raiders of War Raiders, Ricochet and Pete Dunne. NXT, of course, gave us what we would get, like a little glimpse to the future with, Bianca Belair continuing her winning streak, going over Mia Yim. We got next week is going to be usually these aftermath shows, which will be next week's show. But you can miss them. I mean, War Raiders made their debut, I believe it was the Wednesday after WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans. Then we had, and then other than that, there really has been much to see for the aftermaths. But, and this is what's great. We have a match you're gonna want to see. Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno. Cassius Ohno versus Matt Riddle, which I honestly think should be on War Games tonight. I just don't know why they wanted to put it there. There are only 4 matches going on tonight for War Games, which is kind of weird. But it will be interesting to see what we get from War Games, from the War Games aftermath, because Cassius Ohno versus Bat Riddle should be a takeover match, bar none. I did not watch NXT UK this week because I was moving, so I only was able to catch up on NXT in a timely manner to be able to get a review out for that. And we put in the War Games preview predictions in that same video, so go check those out. Go check that out along with Raw and SmackDown. But let's get into Survivor Series here. Let me just make a little transition here. Yes, Survivor Series. We're going to start from the bottom and go to the top. The bottom means we have a pre-show match, which I'm so glad the pre-show match is not the Cruiserweight Championship. That has been relegated to the pre-show match at big events the last few times that it's been around, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. But thank goodness with Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, they're going to actually be part of the main card. Now, the kickoff show is, of course, going to be Team Raw versus Team SmackDown 10-on-10 Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination Match. The rules, of course, are if one member of each team gets eliminated, both members of the team are eliminated, which I think is kind of dumb. We have Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, the Revival, B-Team, and Lucha House Party, and the Ascension versus the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and the Colognes. I'm going with Team SmackDown just because I think that SmackDown needs to get an early win here. I believe Raw is going to dominate again, and this will be the first one that SmackDown actually gets to own. And the fact that they have the Sanity on their team, and Sanity could be great. I think Team SmackDown should sweep this entire thing. Give Sanity, let Team SmackDown of Sanity, the Usos, the New Day, the Colognes, and the Good Brothers just sweep Monday Night Raw and be like, wow, SmackDown's off to a dominating start, just to have that false sense of security. Then we're going to go with the Cruiserweight Championship to open the show. If I'm booking the show, as soon as those credits are done and we're done with the opening package for Survivor Series, you're hearing Mustafa Ali's music hit, then Buddy Murphy to open this show right. I see no reason for Buddy Murphy not to retain his championship. This is going to be his first title defense since winning the title at Super Showdown, if I'm correct. No reason for him to lose the title, so Buddy Murphy is going to go over Mustafa Ali. Should be a great match. Hopefully, we will have to see. AOP versus The Bar. Tag team versus tag team. Champion versus champion match. I'm going with the AOP. They are the young guns in the tag team world on the main roster. Yes, they were a cohesive unit in NXT, but they really haven't done much, and a win over The Bar would do big things for everybody. Would be for them for sure. Women's 5-on-5, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Natalya, and Ruby Riott versus Carmella, Naomi, Serena Deville, Asuka, and to be determined. Depending on who the TBD is for Team SmackDown, I'm going with Team SmackDown. If it's one of the Bella Twins, which it would not surprise me if it is, then Team Raw is going to win this thing easily, probably. If it's somebody like, it'd probably be Mandy Rose, if anybody, I'm not sure. But I can honestly see SmackDown winning this one. So I'm going to go with Team SmackDown, unless, of course, it is a Bella Twin, because, sheesh. Men's 5-on-5, Team Raw, which is Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley, versus The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and the Charismatic Enigma, Jeff Hardy. I'm going with Team Raw. Braun Strowman's going to go in there. Can honestly see Braun Strowman going in there to literally try and kill everybody who is on Team SmackDown so he can get what he wants. So, would not surprise me if he goes out there and just obliterates most of SmackDown, because, quite honestly, Shane McMahon is going to probably get his ass kicked. The Miz, Rey Mysterio, and Jeff Hardy could all probably be just manhandled by Braun Strowman, and then there's Samoa Joe, who would actually give him a fight. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Of course, before this past Tuesday, this was AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. Daniel Bryan stands absolutely no chance. This is going to be a squash fest, in my opinion. This isn't going to be like we saw last year. I give Daniel Bryan absolutely zero chance to go up against Brock Lesnar. Why anybody wants to see this match is well beyond me. I see no desire to see this match. I don't see any reason for this match. This match is going to be a shit show. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States for the champion versus champion match. I'm going with Shinsuke Nakamura. This should be the match of the night. It should have been and could have been Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles too, but since they wanted to strip that away from us, I'm going with this match. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This could be Shinsuke's best match on the main roster. And finally, what should have been the main event, and probably will still be the main event, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Charlotte Flair, of course, is standing in for the injured Becky Lynch. And I honestly just see Charlotte Flair tapping out to the armbar or something else and losing to Ronda Rousey. That is my preview predictions there. I'm going with Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Shinsuke Nakamura, men's Raw team for the men, women for the SmackDown, and Buddy Murphy, as well as AOP, and the SmackDown Tag Team 10-on-10. Alrighty, back to what we need to talk to. We're going to talk about Strowman versus Lesnar. Baron Corbin, of course, cost Braun Strowman the Universal Championship at Crown Jewel against Brock Lesnar earlier this month. On the last episode of Raw, Strowman refused to leave the ring, demanding to face confrontation with the acting general manager. Stephanie McMahon came to the ring and tried to calm things down, promising Strowman that if he helped Raw get the win at Survivor Series, which she honestly must mean that Raw wins overall, not just the match itself, because Raw won the first Survivor Series for Raw vs. SmackDown, and then Raw, which they didn't do Raw vs. SmackDown that first year, and I honestly don't know why. McMahon said she would personally see it that his demands are met. Strowman asked for a rematch with Lesnar for the Universal Championship in the future and the chance to face Corbin in a match of his choosing. Stephanie assured that he will get what he wants as long as he doesn't lay a hand on Corbin until after Survivor Series pay-per-view, which could play into the Monday Night Raw team getting screwed over if Baron Corbin does put his hands on Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman was told not to lay his hands on Baron Corbin, but not the other way around, so that could really screw things up. As reported last week, Strowman is advertised to face Corbin at the upcoming TLC pay-per-view on December 16th from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Strowman was originally scheduled to face Drew McIntyre at the show. Lesnar is currently not advertised for TLC or any of the Raws leading up to the event. Well, no, we will not see Brock Lesnar until Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. During the most recent edition of the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer reiterated that while plans can always change, Strowman is not expected to face Lesnar at WrestleMania 35. Meltzer had reported in the latest edition that Lesnar is believed to be working the Royal Rumble in January, so it appears Lesnar versus Strowman will be taking place there. I don't want to see it. We've seen it enough. Strowman should have got the win at Crown Jewel. Fuck the reasons that they don't want. They like pretty much giving Brock Lesnar the championship back tells everybody that WWE does not care about the young guys. That's all it says. Do you want to see Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman? I know I sure as hell don't. WWE announces a stipulation for the Mixed Match Challenge winners at TLC. WWE has announced that the winners of the Mixed Match Challenge Season 2 will receive the 30th entry in the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches in January next year. WWE also announced that the winners of the 14-week round robin competition will receive an all-expenses-paid vacation anywhere in the world. Who cares? I know I don't. But it could be interesting with the fact that AJ Styles just lost the championship, and we could honestly see Charlotte Flair and AJ Styles, even though AJ was taken out of this past episode of the Mixed Match Challenge, probably to sell his injuries to Daniel Bryan. I fully expect him to finish off the Mixed Match Challenge. But I would give him to Asuka and The Miz. So the simple fact is, I don't care who wins it. I don't care. I don't watch the show. But since Asuka and The Miz, like Asuka, it ain't going to make a big deal about. But The Miz, from TLC to the Royal Rumble, can brag and brag and brag about winning the Mixed Match Challenge and being the 30th and having the 30th spot in the Royal Rumble. Doesn't make sense for Bobby Lashley to win. Doesn't make sense for R-Truth, because R-Truth and them are not going to win anyway. Doesn't make sense for anybody else other than The Miz and Asuka to win. Asuka's not going to sit there and brag about being number 30th. But The Miz, I could just see with his character bragging for days, for hours, and for anybody who will listen to him. I'm number 30 in the Royal Rumble. I'm number 30 in the Royal Rumble. I had the best odds of winning. I had the best odds of winning. I'm the man. I'm the this. I'm the that. And you could just see him doing that over and over and over. But do you really care about the mixed match challenge? Because I know I really don't. But it would be interesting when we get to TLC, the two teams remaining, who could possibly win and make it to the number 30 spot in each Royal Rumble. I think it should be Asuka and The Miz. Who cares if they win it 2 times in a row in the same year? It would make interesting, especially for The Miz. But speaking of heel turns, since what do I want to say? Since Daniel Bryan turned heel, does that mean Miz is going to turn babyface? It just makes it seem like that's what he might do. But speaking of, why did Daniel Bryan turn heel? This is one that is interesting. On a night full of shocking moments, Daniel Bryan's heel turn and win over AJ Styles for the WWE Championship was the most shocking. But reports have come out saying the idea of Bryan's turn wasn't new. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio via Wrestling News, the heel turn was actually Daniel Bryan's idea. Daniel Bryan has been pushing for the idea of going heel, and Meltzer said, whatever the reason, I don't know the reason, but it was over the weekend. Vince changed plans and wanted to go with Brock Lesnar against Daniel Bryan. This is before the Becky Lynch injury. So anybody who's thinking that they changed course because of Becky Lynch's injury is absolutely false, as you see here. The heel turn was decided Tuesday afternoon. It was basically Vince saying, let's do it all in one day and get the biggest impact. The interesting part of this report is that the idea of Daniel Bryan facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series came before Becky Lynch's injury. Many in the wrestling community believe the match between Lynch and Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series being pulled facilitated this change, but it seems that the heel turn was in fact decided was in fact not decided by that. Lynch, of course, suffered a broken face and concussion during a brawl in the closing segment on Monday Night Raw after Nia Jax, quote-unquote, accidentally punched her. The last kicker in the face, Charlotte Flair was chosen by Lynch to replace her in the match during Tuesday's SmackDown Live. Brock was scheduled to face AJ Styles on Sunday at Survivor Series for the second year in a row. However, fans will get a matchup never seen on WWE television. Survivor Series is set to stream tomorrow night, November 18th at 7 p.m. I don't want to see the match. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Daniel Bryan's heel turn. Will it be more of a Tommaso Ciampa heel turn? Or will WWE just louse it up and screw it up all in the end, because WWE tends to do that? When was the last time, yes, Dean Ambrose heel turn it's interesting to see where it's going to go, but the Daniel Bryan heel turn, if he has control of what he wants to do, and there has been talk that his contract gives him not 100%, because nobody outside of Vince McMahon, or somebody in the McMahon family is going to have 100% creative control in their contract. So there was talk that he could have partial creative control, and if that is true, and he definitely wanted this, then Daniel Bryan will make sure that this heel turn goes well. Which, hey, if it works, then hey, more power to him. I'll definitely enjoy to see what happens, as long as it doesn't turn into a Shinsuke Nakamura heel turn where it started out good, and then he's just floundering right now. Like I said, this Sunday, Shinsuke Nakamura's best match could be against Seth Rollins. It should be. We'll have to wait and see. So, to anybody who wants to sit there and say that this is a great thing, this is a great match to have, boo on you. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. This isn't Daniel Bryan pre-2013 when he injured himself and was starting to lose and was starting to get multiple concussions and was forced to retire 3 years later. This is a Daniel Bryan that is under concussion protocol every single match. He's out there wrestling and has to deal with concussions every single match. I don't want to sit there and the only other person besides Nia Jax who's leading in concussions for WWE is Brock Lesnar. One bad suplex. Look what he did to Neil Singh at this past Monday, how he threw him around. I wouldn't want to see Daniel Bryan suplex. Once he slips out because, the guys are sweating, no one's wearing a suit or anything, slips out and hits his head and cracks his head open, and we get a concussion. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. If you want to see that, then that's your own fault, but I don't want to see that at all. Period. Not a chance. Well, came in here note about the Performance Center. WWE has created a new YouTube channel for the Performance Center. It is at youtube.com/WWPC, and it's had a premiere episode of a rival series featuring WWE NXT superstar Matt Riddle. It has also done a 360 on putting the cage up for the War Games tonight, as well as the Undisputed Era and the other and the team of War Raiders, Ricochet and Pete Dunne, talking about the War Games match while inside the War Games style cage at the warehouse before it comes to the stadium. Speaking of NXT, there has been talk of calling WWE NXT superstars up to the main roster after Sunday's Survivor Series pay-per-view, according to Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer Radio. There's no word on yet who might get called up, but it would be depend on what happens at Saturday's TakeOver War Games 2 events. If Shayna Baszler loses her NXT Women's Championship, which I fully expect her to do, she's coming up, no doubt about it. Aleister Black coming up, no doubt about it. Let me see. Velveteen Dream, no doubt about it. I have a feeling that Vince McMahon has been wanting not Aleister Black, but Velveteen Dream for a long, long time. So it would not surprise me if that dude is brought up. Who else could come up? Nope, I wouldn't say the Undisputed Era because they're still tag team champions. There's nobody on there. Nobody from War Raiders. Ricochet just got here. He's not coming up. He's the North American champion. And the War Raiders, of course, just got here. And Pete Dunne, the only thing that I'm going to say about Pete Dunne is this could be his last match for the main NXT, as he is going to be help build the NXT UK division, and he needs to be focused on that. So let me know in the comment section who you think will be the NXT call-ups this after Survivor Series. I think Tommaso Ciampa is going to win and beat Velveteen Dream, so Velveteen Dream is coming up. Shayna Baszler is coming up, and Aleister Black most likely will be coming up. Former X Division champion bound for WWE, maybe? WWE Insiders reporting that former X Division champion Trevor Lee is finished with Impact Wrestling and made his last appearances during this week's Impact Wrestling tapings in Las Vegas. According to PW Insider, Lee did give Impact Wrestling notice of his upcoming departure from the company, and that WWE has shown interest in Lee, according to several sources. Lee worked his way to a full-time gig with Impact since appearing on the fight card under Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling promotion, which was a big bomb, back in 2015. But really created his reputation wrestling independently in North Carolina for the LA-based Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Lee's father is late Tracy Cadell, who passed away earlier this year. Cadell ran the Omega promotion that featured talents such as the Hardy Boys and Hurricane Helms before they made their way to stardom. Trevor Lee was a part of Impact Wrestling that just occurred in Las Vegas, match being against Killer Kross, and I know I had another story on here. Where did it go? My notes are screwed up. But yeah. So, would you want to see Trevor Lee in WWE? I think he would do great for 205 Live. He's got that scruffy beard, the long hair, like hair all over his chest and stomach and everything. He would look like he would fit in great for the cruiserweight division for 205 Live. Maybe spend time in NXT. Who knows? But it would definitely be I could see him doing something in WWE. So. Let me know what you think of Trevor Lee possibly making it to WWE. Maybe he could be at I doubt he would be at War Games tonight. That's another thing. Is there going to be any big names coming to War Games? There has been no talk so far. Speaking of something that is a little disturbing, if I can find the story, James Ellsworth is in the news yesterday. I was on Twitter when I got home, when I got my internet back on, and I see on the little tweet thing, Ellsworth is trending. Well, apparently, James Ellsworth is in a little bit of trouble. Let me see here if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see here. James Ellsworth does not. Let's see. Moving on here, guys, we have ourselves talk of Backstage Heat on two WWE superstars. The first, of course, being Brock Lesnar, and the other one being Raw Women's Champion #1 contender Nia Jax. It also noted that it was believed Lesnar's German suplexes to Neil Singh on Monday Night Raw were unsafe. Some backstage also reported believes Jax is unsafe worker after giving Becky Lynch a broken face and a severe concussion on Raw by punching her in the face. As a result of the injury she suffered, Lynch was replaced by Charlotte Flair in her scheduled match tonight against Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series on Meltzer. Per Meltzer, much of the backstage heat on Lesnar is coming from his co-workers, while Jax may be from both fellow wrestlers and management since she has also caused injuries in the past. Yeah, so when it comes to Nia Jax, yes, she's going to have heat on her by the management for sure. For simple fact is, this is not the first injury, and not the first injury. It was not even a month ago that she injured Zelina Vega by throwing her like a lawn dart into her cousin Tamina Snuka and sending her pretty much to the disabled list for a while. And it's also not, this isn't her second injury. She's injured Alexa Bliss, I believe, during their feud. She's injured Bayley before. She's definitely someone who should not have been up on the main roster yet, or even close to when they did. When it comes to Brock Lesnar and his heat with the boys, I mean, why not? Look at everything that's gone through. Look at how Seth Rollins has been there since he's been there since day one. Dealing with an injury, come back from that, working his butt off to get back up the prominence where he was before, and pretty much Brock Lesnar just coming in and doing whatever he wants. When guys like Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and others are working their asses off every single day, every single week, every single month, trying to make themselves better, trying to earn the respect of the fans, and trying to be that guy for the company. And he just comes in and takes their spot. And I agree with each and every one of them. Why would you not want to sit there? And why would you not want to sit there and tell Brock Lesnar, fuck you, we don't need you, we have what we need? It just makes no sense for them to have him go out there and win and just do what he needs to take the win. It's just ridiculous. There's no reason to have him be your champion. There's no reason for Brock Lesnar to be back here still. He needs to go off to what he's going to and just leave everything else to the men and women of WWE. He does not help the company. He doesn't help the brand at all. It's time to forget Brock Lesnar and give other guys and gals a chance to shine. Moving on here, we had some WrestleMania 35 plans that, of course, been thrown out the window lately. What are the plans so far? WrestleMania 35 will be making some history, according to the latest issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The WWE's biggest event of 2019 will be headlined by two women for the first time ever. Vince McMahon has reportedly decided to headline the event with Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey going up against SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Now, I totally do not expect Becky Lynch to be champion going into this. I expect Becky Lynch to drop the title between now and Royal Rumble, and she will be probably winning the Royal Rumble. Probably winning the Royal Rumble and going on to challenge her. We're not going to get a champion versus champion match at WrestleMania. That would make absolutely no sense. The match was originally supposed to happen tonight at Survivor Series this weekend, but it's no longer the case due to Lynch suffering a concussion from Nia Jax. However, it looks like the injury will just give the match a bigger stage and more hype, as it's currently planned to be the WrestleMania 35 main event. Now, yes, it's much better for them to do this for Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. Of course, this was supposed to be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. Now, times can change. Anything can change between now and WrestleMania. Until we start seeing hype package for WrestleMania and who's going to be facing Ronda Rousey, we have a long, long way to go. Long way to go before we know who's going to face off against Ronda Rousey. But it makes sense, and people want to see this match. This is also why Nia Jax has heat, because this match was a big money match for tonight's show, and tonight's show is not going to have that match. Instead, we're going to get a match that WWE wanted to hold off until we got to WrestleMania, and they're not gonna get that chance thanks to Nia Jax, who honestly, if you want to punish her, get rid of have her lose her number one contender spot to somebody else. I'm not saying fire her. That's not what you do. But send her back to NXT and give her some more training because she needs it. That punch looked deliberate, in my opinion. It looked absolutely deliberate. How is WWE treating tonight's Survivor Series, by the way? Daniel Bryan turned heel and defeated AJ Styles to become the new WWE Champion. We all know this. Bryan will now replace Styles on the Survivor Series card and will face the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. The timing of Bryan's heel turn came as a surprise to many, considering he will face Lesnar this Sunday. Because instead of a babyface versus heel dynamic, we get a heel versus heel, which honestly is just, it depends on who it is, and this isn't one of those times that it's probably going to be a good thing. It probably won't be. During Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer talked about WWE's decision to turn Bryan heel and booking him in a match against Lesnar at Survivor Series. Meltzer argued that for the match between Bryan and Lesnar to work, Daniel had to go in as a babyface. But Meltzer revealed that he inquired about the reasoning behind turning Daniel Bryan heel before facing Lesnar, and it was poorly told that the show is being treated as if it's not part of the current storylines. Dave further noted that he was told WWE will get back to the regular storylines next week after the event. As you know, WWE likes to take SmackDown vs. Raw and smash them together for Survivor Series, and because of that, they don't want to consider this as a continuation or continuity of regular storylines. So you probably won't see a Dean Ambrose interfere and take out Seth Rollins to help Shinsuke Nakamura win. You won't see, like, Ember Moon, who's not on Team Raw, come out and screw over Team Raw to get his back on. It's just WWE making sure that all the stuff that they build up, which really isn't much at all, doesn't get thrown to the wayside for what Vince McMahon originally didn't want to have happen, a SmackDown vs. Raw type show for NXT. Well, not for NXT, but for SmackDown vs. Raw show, which Vince McMahon, as we all know, did not want to have happen. It was originally supposed to be a 5-on-5 Raw versus Raw match with the Corbin versus Angle match, which did not happen. WWE decided to go against, since Roman Reigns went out, they went, we're just going to go SmackDown vs. Raw, and you know what, this show doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whatsoever, so why should we care? And finally, guys, we're going to talk about the original plans for Daniel Bryan. As we know, on Tuesday, Daniel Bryan turned batty heel. But was this original plans, and was he going to go heel going into WrestleMania? No, not at all. The original WrestleMania 35 plans for new champion Daniel Bryan was to have him face SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon. I guess yay, because I thought Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon would be a good idea. No. WWE may have still teased Bryan versus Shane right before Bryan's title ran on SmackDown, but the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Shane versus Bryan is no longer the direction we are going for WrestleMania 35. It appears Shane's planned heel turn with the WWE World Cup tournament win was leading to his WrestleMania match with Bryan. It's possible Shane's heel turn has been dropped, as there was no signs of it on this week's Blue Brand show. Regarding the top matches of WrestleMania 35, the only match that appears to be somewhat confirmed at this point is Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey versus SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Triple H versus Batista is out. Bryan versus Shane and Ronda versus Charlotte Flair were all planned for the biggest event of the year at some point, but they have been nixed due to injuries or other forced creative changes. There are no word yet on how long they plan to keep the title on Bryan or who his next major feud will be with, but AJ Styles still has a rematch coming. So, the original plan for Daniel Bryan, which would have been which in my opinion, I think a lot of people too, would have been him coming back this year at WrestleMania, winning that match with Shane McMahon, and then going a full year later and having him face Shane McMahon, who's a heel now. No. That would have been just a waste of time. Plain and simple. An absolute waste of time. But what do we get? We get Daniel Bryan as a heel. We have Daniel Bryan as a heel now, and now Shane McMahon. They could still go for Shane McMahon versus Daniel Bryan, but that would mean Daniel Bryan would have to lose the WWE Championship. There is absolutely no way, no how, no sir, that you could make me believe that not Daniel Bryan, but Shane could go into WrestleMania and be your net, like going up against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. There's just no way. You couldn't. It wouldn't be believable for me or you at all. I just couldn't do it. No. The WWE has a lot of thinking to do, and they as we talked about, they don't see this as a part of the storylines coming into Survivor Series. So they have time to sit here and try and think of what they're going to do to get Daniel Bryan to be a good heel, and with the fact that he decided he was going to ask for this heel turn, this could be the best thing for Daniel Bryan to do, is to be there and be in with the company and be like, listen, this is how we're going to go with this direction. You're not going to have us go this way, because if we go this way, then everything we just did means absolutely nothing. And that's the biggest problem with this heel turn, is I don't trust WWE with how they do things. I don't trust WWE with heel turns. I mean, yes, the Dean Ambrose one is still kind of intriguing. It's not lost its luster yet. But it's really, really hard to find the fact that WWE decided to take the most beloved babyface in Daniel Bryan and just turn him heel. This is not a case of like there were people, like half the audience. This isn't a Hulk Hogan case where half the audience was booing the hell out of Daniel Bryan. Just no. Just no. No. That is going to be your Unscripted for Sunday, Survivor Series Sunday. Now, I will say that the fact that this is a podcast that's been cut into two parts for the simple fact is my PC decided it wanted to die, but what I had was doing great. So I didn't want to scrap what I had, and I'm just going to add what I have here and add it in there, so you guys will have hopefully a full podcast for you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at TheFrance. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance08. I'll see you tonight for Survivor Series, as NXT TakeOver War Games last night was the absolute best. I don't see SmackDown and Raw, because the fact that WWE decided this is not going to be part of storyline continuity, which makes absolutely no sense. How are you going to have a show that's one of your big four? How are you going to have this show just mean nothing to your storylines? I don't know, and it makes absolutely no sense. But I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys tonight for Survivor Series review and results. Until then, I'm getting out of here. You guys have a good one.